The opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the individual and do not reflect any official view of the United Steelworkers, USW, Local 105, or its officers or sub-board members for officers. Now, from the banks of the mighty Mississippi, this is Steel Revolution.
All right, everybody. Welcome to Steel Revolution number 10 as I channel my inner Sean Geisens.
That was good. That was good.
You've got jokes.
Hey, I couldn't stop thinking about that when you sent that recording to us via text. I enjoyed it.
I've heard that a few times before. He's pretty proud of it.
Just the talk.
Maybe we need to add that in here.
Something.
All right. Well, welcome to number 10. It's gonna be Big League. Or I thought somebody that I'm friends with on Facebook put is bigly a word, and I thought, oh man, that's real clever. Well, then I was watching the debate and following Bill Maher, and Bill Maher said, is bigly a word? And I thought, oh man, I think you might have stole that. So, welcome to the Big League Show. Yep, Mike and Sean. Local news, 105 news. Little bit of effects bargaining that happened. So, any of the, I guess, I'm going to say, people out on the floor that say everything's going to change due to the name change, not true. Now it's in writing, and you can see the what happened in the press releases in last week's Forerunner. In USW news, did I see, because I have not got my magazine, was our guy Rick made it into the magazine?
Yes, Rick Ramirez is in this month's edition of the USW magazine, and he's not proud of it at all. He's only sent it to about 400 people, so
it's becoming a little media happy, like some other people around here.
Well, I think he's encroaching on your territory, Roy. You better take care of him.
There's not enough room to be in front of the camera when you
Between
got like
you
me
and
Grieve. Yeah.
Yep.
News, September 30th. USW members testify on aluminum industry crisis. 2 USW members and an assistant to USW President Leo Gerard testified before the U.S. International Trade Commission. Also at the hearing, members from Polaris, Hawesville, Kentucky, and near and dear to our hearts, Alcoa Messina. Robert Smith, President, USW Local 420-A in Messina, shared some memories on the day that the smelter was looking like it was going to shut down. As I remember that night vividly, Smith said, I was scared for my family's future. What kind of life would my kids leave? And you remember at the 11th hour, they secured a local, state, federal aid which allows Alcoa to continue to operate, but the agreement, again, is only a temporary solution.
Yeah, only for another 3 years, and then they could be back in the same situation.
He goes on to say, we cannot continue to wait for the Chinese to address the problem voluntarily, Smith said. Also, Andy Mazur, which is in my USW leadership class, president of USW Local 9423, which is Century Aluminum Smelter in Hawesville, Kentucky, said only about 240 of the local's 540 members are currently working due to the effects of Chinese trade and excess capacity. We cannot allow overcapacity and oversupply to take down our industry. And I was listening to another podcast, the Union Edge podcast, and then our international president, Leo Gerard, was on there. So we all know the Newsweek. We played stuff from Tom Conway on what Trump has done. So he went on to say that, yeah, Trump brought in aluminum the same way, and then glass, and don't quote me on the place, but was I believe, Vietnam, and shipped glass in from there. Again, don't quote me on the exact place, but it went to Canada, got a frame around it, and then shipped in to the United States. So it was said it was from Canada.
But according to him, those people need jobs too.
Mike, he's a smart businessman. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
He's bigly.
It's terrific. It's going to be huge. Local area later on, at the end of this podcast, we'll be having a interview with Joshua Shipp, 6th Ward Alderman from Rock Island, our local AFL-CIO Community Service Liaison. So the Iowa and Illinois news, in which, Mike, you are down the path of about 50 words, by the way.
Oh, I'm way over 50 words right now.
Speaking in his weekly news conference, Braindead says he agrees with Trump that there are efforts to cheat the system, and that national media organizations are colluding with Clinton to, let's say, throw the election. Wouldn't that make her a smart politician, or she's smart running a campaign, right? If you cheat a system, aren't you smart?
Yeah, it only works for Trump, though.
It only works
on his side of it.
All right. Oh, and also, Braindead's son leads Trump's Iowa campaign, so he's on the payroll.
Why does that not surprise me?
That's a $20,000 contribution will get you. I mean, go along with the our Iowa politicians that still support Trump. Phony Joni Ernst, only female senators still supporting Trump, according to Progress Iowa. More news out of Iowa. Melissa Gessling, president of the Iowa Federation of Women, announced she was resigning as the head of the organization in a lengthy article in which she compared her wavering on Trump to being in a bad, unhealthy relationship. Goes on to say that I finally had enough with falling in line with my party and trying to support Donald Trump. So she had resigned for that. Oh, and I forgot, Braindead also said that he was still supporting Trump because he's the best for national security. And then it's pretty sad that the only real Republican that, or I guess it's not the only one, but the Republicans that are not falling in line or not following Trump, you got to have some respect for them. So Paul Ryan, which gets a littlest amount, will be focusing only on congressional races for Republicans and pretty much not supporting, or at least not doing anything not to support, but not coming out and supporting Trump. We will take a break and have Sean play a clip.
I get reactions like, well, you're a Republican. Why are you supporting something that the president wants? I mean, we cannot get to the point in America that because a Democrat wants something that you happen to agree with, you can't agree with them. There's plenty of things that I disagree with President Obama on. But the idea that I'm a Republican and therefore I can't work with Democrats, or you're a Democrat and you can't work with Republicans, how does anybody think that the issues of debt, Social Security, Medicare, health care, any of these issues are going to be resolved when we spend all of our time fighting with one another? You see, I don't recognize this town much anymore, because now it's become so much about politics. And when politics is the order of the day and partisanship trumps country, we drift. We drift as a nation. And I'm extremely concerned about what I see. This is a moment for people to begin to reverse that, to think deep inside of themselves about what matters when it comes to public service.
Come on.
No.
Come on.
Are we going?
I'm a gentleman.
Are we going now?
Of course we are.
We're going now? Okay.
You know that when he starts talking
Okay.
like that, we're going.
All right, that was a clip from Kasich, which saw it on Facebook and thought, oh, what was this about? But then I did some further investigation that was about the Trans-Pacific Partnership. So why Kasich was so scary to me, the one that I think could have really gave Hillary Clinton some trouble, is that kind of talk from him. Speaking of John McCain, you see him in the news?
Not lately.
Not lately? You didn't see it?
I didn't get to see it.
So he made the comments about if Hillary Clinton would win, he made comments about the Supreme Court nominations or nominees she'd put up. Quote, "I promise you that we will be united against any Supreme Court nominee that Hillary Clinton, if she were president, would put up. I promise you." That's what he said. Hate to break it to him, it's not if.
It's not if.
It's
Yeah,
not if,
I agree.
It's done. Fun fact: driving around the car with the kids, there's the Triumph banks around.
Yep.
So nothing against Triumph Bank. Let's get that out there right now. So we're driving around, and my son goes, "I don't like Triumph Bank." They're like, "Why?" What? Just out of the blue, he says it. We're like, "Why?" He says, "Well, take away the I and the H." We're sitting there, what? Oh, yeah.
We got to spell that out for Sean. He's kind of
right now.
he can't figure it out.
Trump.
Oh. Hey, I got a nomination for douchebag of the week already.
Wow, it's a little early.
Who's that? Don't say my son.
Oh, Sean.
No, Nicholas.
Oh.
Yeah, Nicholas always gets.
Speaking of things funny, then you saw that Trump was throwing a hissy fit over Saturday Night Live, which Alec Baldwin did another excellent, awesome job
That was great.
for the second debate. So with all the accusations of Trump attacking women, the People writer who has accused Trump of attacking her after a photo shoot has 6 colleagues and friends who corroborated her story. More news seems like Michael Moore has a new movie called Trumpland. I guess it's not really about Trump as much as it talks about his support for Hillary Clinton, which got me thinking, if Trump did have like a theme park, what would be the rides? What would happen? Who would be there? What would the people look like? I envision a bunch of people that look like Joe Dirt running the place, operating the rides. A Mike Pence ride, which would be his head, just nodding back and forth, saying, "That's nonsense. He did not say that." Melania show, in which it's just a theater and like a robot of her, and all she does is give speeches that somebody else wrote. And I'd say it was a surprise I didn't even put it down here. So then there's got to be a Trump signature ride, in which I call the grabber. So it grabs you, it snatches you up.
I see what you did there.
Good job, Roy.
And just flings you around and lets you off, and then you just feel sick and...
Hey, Billy Bush can run it. He doesn't have a job.
He can operate it. You're right.
You're right. I think, he's looking for some employment. He'd be the one. It'll be a bunch of Joe Dirts, and then there'll be Billy Bush. So you just feel violated and sick, and you get off the ride and forget to unplug the phone. And then when you're walking away, there's just a bunch of people dressed like Trump to try to kiss you.
You really thought about that one, didn't you, Roy?
That was my attempt, and that's all original to the best of my knowledge.
All right, Roy, let's go.
All right. Back at it.
Yep.
So, speaking of the debate, there seems to be the Cutlery Union in Las Vegas made a wall of taco trucks outside of Trump's Vegas hotel. This was before the debate. Said, "We're protesting Donald Trump's hotel here in Vegas, where a majority of workers voted to unionize, and shamefully Trump has failed to sit down at the table with them." Let's see. So speaking of the debate, either of you guys watch it?
No.
Yes, I did
Yeah,
watch.
you did?
I DVR'd it and then watched it when I got home.
Who do you think won?
Hillary.
I thought it was her best one.
I thought she did very well. She didn't get rattled. I thought last time he did rattle her a little bit. This time, she was very on point and didn't take his bullshit like she did last time.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. That was my Trump debate impression. Somebody needs to tell him Bill Clinton's not running.
Yeah. You'd think somebody on his side would have told him that, but that's all he seems to be able to bring up.
I mean, I got it, and there's not a whole lot of room for Hillary to get away from NAFTA. So
Yeah.
I thought bringing it up was good, but I thought she countered it very well when it sounded almost word for word. It was Leo saying her response to that
Yep.
was, well, your hotel down the street,
Chinese steel.
it's made from Chinese steel and aluminum and blah, blah. I mean, you didn't help steel workers when you did that. And
Yep.
I mean, I would have swore somebody from the USW gave her that response.
Yep.
It was great. And then the other thing that I thought she missed, the last debate with bringing up the discrimination in leasing or renting his apartment. She brought that up at a good time, and I can't recall what it was, but I thought she missed out on that last time.
Yeah.
Wow, I think this is
Yeah, this is going to be a short one this
it's a
time.
short show, isn't it?
We'll just call it Sean.
Luckily, we'll have an interview coming up. I like Dick's or
I'm sure you did.
Sporting Goods.
Oh, that. Yeah.
Anyway, local sporting goods store here now using labor from out of this area, so Texas, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, to build their new store and turning their backs on the community that supports them.
And local labor's been out in force just about every day.
So there'll be more to come. I mean, it's nothing new for this area. It seems to happen now. It seems to me happens more
It's
often.
happened more and more, yeah.
More and
It
more
is.
now. Again, I don't know how you can expect the local community to support you when you don't even get. I mean, union or non-union, you just don't use local contractors to build your new store.
Yep.
All right, coming to us on our figuring out how to take a phone call. Joining us for an interview is Joshua Shipp. Josh is the 6th Ward Alderman for Rock Island, also the local area AFL-CIO Community Services Liaison. And did I leave any title out, Joshua?
No, you got them both.
All right, good.
Thank you.
All right, well, it's that time of year for United Way, and the campaigns are starting out, and I know you have a great deal to do with that and having a successful campaign at our union shops around. Can you tell us how the campaigns are going and a little bit about the United Way?
Yeah, so first of all, I just want to say thanks for the opportunity to be on the podcast. I got in my 4.25 years of being labor liaison, it's been made very clear to me how committed the steel workers are to the labor movement here. I've seen you guys in action, getting great contracts, standing up for your members, producing great newsletters, getting involved. So thank you to you guys for everything you do. Start off with. In terms of the United Way campaign, we've had rallies going here in the Quad Cities for a couple months now. We are very much in the middle of the campaign, and we've in terms of Alcoa's campaign, we've gone through the ambassador training now, and I really think that's one of the keys to why the campaign is successful. Is that Alcoa, the steelworkers, and IBW make that effort to have the one-on-one conversations. I think in terms of organizing or a United Way campaign, the one-on-one conversation, it's the same value. It's the best value for achieving the goal. So I like to think that I have an impact in terms of being able to come and talk with the members, which I love doing, and thanking folks for giving, explaining the work that we do in the community, where the money is going, and how important it is. And I know that that's an important part of it, but the real work is, those relationships that the ambassadors have with their department, and have the willingness to spend some extra time to make that ask. It makes a big difference. I mean, that's how you raise, $235,000 that we raised last year with the combined campaign at Alcoa, and that may have been down, but it's still in a very large sum of money, a very generous amount of money, and every dollar matters. So we appreciate that support.
Yeah, I mean that's
in terms of.
That's certainly a lot of money coming back to our area to do some good work. And me and you were talking yesterday after one of the ambassador trainings, and a lot of what we get is why the United Way, why should I give, and me and you were going back and forth with that, and I said that
Sure.
To me it's like a union, the United Way, that's watching out for my charitable dollars, making sure that it goes to charities that are doing good work and doing the work that is needed in this area.
Well, and that's absolutely true, and I appreciate that perspective. And I think there's a healthy degree of skepticism. Anytime you got money leaving from your paycheck, you want to know where it's going. And you have tangible things like your health insurance or a 401k contribution. You know where that's going and what it's going for. Union dues is another great example. And I think the union dues United Way is a good comparison, because for those who get involved in their union, they see that the union is a democratic association, and allocations of money, all of these things are done through consensus and committees and through votes. And so there's a strong degree of transparency there. And I think the more people who are interested in that, the better and healthier the union is. And same degree with United Way. Staff don't decide where the money goes. We have community volunteers serve on different allocation panels. For this next fund cycle, we'll have 8 allocation panels. These are people from different walks of life, different occupations, workers and retirees, and they review the applications that our board of directors has set up a rather strict policy for, when you're applying for money from United Way, if you're going to step up and ask for those funds, you better be ready to show us, that your financials are strong, that your board of directors is in place, that you're in good standing with the IRS, and most importantly, that you have the capacity to do the impact work that you're applying for. And over the past several years, we've had formed great partnerships with community organizations. I think of, Child Abuse Council, Martin Luther King Center, Transitions Mental Health Services, which I know the steelworkers have gotten involved with their own fundraiser with Next Gen. And so we have formed these bonds and have seen the work of these organizations, because our application panel volunteers and our board, they go out and they review these agencies that go, they take a look at the programs. And so there's a lot of, there isn't a healthy union. There's a lot of democratic, ownership for the different tasks and division of different tasks and oversight and accountability. And that's what we strive for. And that's the value that we try to return to donors, that degree of transparency and trust that, yes, the money's staying here locally, and yes, it's going to the places where we feel like the greatest need is to make this community stronger.
And I know to do all that, it takes money and it takes a staff. And we were also talking yesterday about the overhead and how the United Way of the Quad Cities, how their overhead looks and some of the choices they make that, affects or shows the good judgment that what they're doing with the funds. And I think we were talking about the percentages and what's acceptable nationally compared to what our local United Way is operating with. And can you speak on that?
Yeah, I think it's a great conversation to have because a lot of folks want to make sure that the organization's actually being efficient and respectful of the dollar. So our running overhead is calculated over a 3-year average. That's how the IRS has 501c3 nonprofits do it. So our current 3-year average is 17.6%. And that is the amount that our board of directors has said that we have to stay under. So it really pushes us to be lean because the IRS really doesn't have, the IRS does not have a set number. They don't say overhead can't exceed X percentage. But there are industry standards and norms. And what we see out there is that 25% to 40% can be an acceptable standard or industry rate of what nonprofits are doing. And frankly, I think those numbers are a little too high. I think that if you're able to operate an organization for under 20% overhead, I think you're doing really, really well. And the point I draw from the overhead is that, we work with over 500 different companies, and we're doing year-round engagement and days of volunteer action. We're doing advocacy work at our state capitals in Springfield and Des Moines. We are conveners of community issues and pulling people together. And so there's good work happening all year round with United Way. And to do good quality work, as any good union member should know, is you have to pay for it. And our organization, I believe our workers are compensated fairly. And I don't believe that in any one case anyone's getting paid exorbitantly. I think we are take care of our employees, but really, if you're looking to make big money, this isn't the line of work that you go into. One of my favorite lines that I hear out there is, "Well, I don't give to United Way because your CEO makes millions of dollars," and it's on our 990, which is the annual tax form we have to file. Compensation for our CEO. I can't remember the exact figure off the top of my head, but it's somewhere around $150,000 or $160,000. And that's our top CEO. And if you want a quality CEO for an organization that can consistently raise over $8 million a year, again, you're going to have to pay for the talent. And I think our president, Scott Crane, has done a great job. I know each year I've been on board, we've raised, last year it was over $9 million. It's been over close to $9 million the past 4 years, and that takes a serious amount of work to get that done. But you got to be committed to the process, and you have to have people who can do it. So we're very proud of the work that we do, and we appreciate all those who support it and recognize that to just assume that everyone would be charitable without having a very clear presentation and a way to do it, payroll deduction, I think underestimates how difficult it is to get those kind of contributions that wouldn't otherwise be available for our community needs and our community agencies that are providing services directly.
Absolutely. Josh, I don't have much more on the United Way. Is there anything else you want to bring up on that topic?
No, I just know we're looking forward to getting back out in the plant, and hopefully I can get another one of those tours of the ingot casting back in the foundry there. That'd be pretty cool.
Yep. We'll pivot now to more on the local politics and some stuff that happened on Rock Island that we talked to in other podcasts. So No, we mentioned stuff here and there, but I know you got a more of a firsthand knowledge of what's going on, and what can you say on the Rock Island Walmart project?
Well, I sort of have a special relationship with that project, insofar as when I saw that happening back in the late fall of 2012, which would have been almost exactly 4 years ago that decision was made. I was very, very concerned from the beginning, and I know for a fact, and I don't have to do anything else but show you the news article. I know I was the first person in Rock Island to write to the paper almost immediately after the decision was announced and call attention to the risk and to say that this dollar amount was far too high for, obviously the wealthiest retail company in the world, and that the needs in this community for our current businesses who are already here, infrastructure needs, everything topped what I perceived as a extremely reckless gamble. Now, I, at the same time, having had that position right at the very beginning, have maintained almost 90% of that perspective. The few things that I've seen since I was elected in April of 2015 is that there were some good things that happened with that project, specifically a relocation of some existing businesses for them to expand in Rock Island, such as the Hill & Valley Bakery, which is now in the 6th Ward, in an industrial area that sorely needed a new tenant. They're a private company that makes treats and sugar-free snacks, and they are continually hiring and growing and doing very, very well. So we're thrilled that they kept that business here in Rock Island as a food manufacturing facility. Those jobs are definitely needed. So that was a good thing. Missman Engineering built a brand new global headquarters there in the 11th Street corridor as part of that project. I know Blackhawk College put in a new adult learning education center as a result of that project. And as a result of that money that was spent, we do now have a very large build-ready site that could be subdivided or used by a large retailer. So I see those things and I carry those things now because as someone who's in a hot seat now, I have to be pragmatic and I have to say, hey, I knew this was a gamble and this was risky, and in short, this was stupid from the beginning. But now, we have to do something about it. And we have to look at what was done right, and so these folks that benefited from it, the employers here, that they didn't do anything wrong. It worked out for them to get a new space, to build brand new structure, or to rehab existing structure. That's great. Those are good things. But in no way does that make me think, well, we should have done the project because of those couple of things. We could have done those things for a much smaller price tag and still had some success. Alternatively, we could have actually had someone signed on to a deal. I guess my takeaway from the project is that at no point did we ever have a commitment from Walmart. That's indisputable. There was never, and so I have found myself in this strange position where I've actually sort of wanted to defend Walmart because people said, well, they pulled out. And my only caveat says, no, they never were at the table. This was really led by the former city manager and the current mayor. The council approved it. And all of them did this knowing that they had nothing in writing. So it's really not fair to say that Walmart walked away or that they were, this was a gamble to build a site that was the specifications of what it would be for a store. They showed some interest towards the end, but then they finally ran the numbers and it didn't work out for their business plan. Now, I would think that you would do that as the first step. to make sure is the site actually part of your business plan. But for me, as a labor activist, the overarching thing for me is that Walmart would not have been the right fit for our community. I think we all know very well that their business model has been under an intense amount of criticism for a number of years now. And I think about the number of union members and actual unions that are in Rock Island. And we don't like that kind of model. It doesn't work for our philosophy. So I would have been, more inclined to try to recruit. Because the need, I guess, to wrap it up, the need for that side of town is retail. But the most pressing need is to have a grocery store there, so folks don't have to go to convenience stores or spend money at gas stations and pay too much. Could we have pursued an Aldi or something of a small footprint there just to get some momentum, and a credit union, IHB, and start building this thing piece by piece instead of going after the whole whale at the same time. So it's a real unfortunate thing. It's a lot of money that we have to pay back, and the city manager that was on board that directed that, obviously he's gone now. We've got a number of city races coming up in April of next year in 15. I believe that we will see new council members and a new mayor as part of the correcting the philosophy that the residents of Rock Island want their elected officials to have.
I know it's not the type of grocery store that you mentioned, but man, I'd love to see a Costco go over there.
Oh yeah. The dream of the Quad Cities is to have a Costco, and well, I'd love to have it here in Rock Island. But their own corporate philosophy, in terms of where they put their stores, I think it's restricting them from taking a good look at the Quad Cities. Lord knows they would, there's a glut of development kind of on the border between northern Davenport and Bettendorf there, and that would be an ideal location. But I don't believe that there's any intention or any perspective on location right now. So I know that our staff has set up to them numerous times over the years and basically given the same runaround message. I think that they have some sort of corporate plan to not compete where Walmart is so dense. And Walmart is, unfortunately, too dense in the Quad Cities. And the footprint of Costco's, see kind of almost a 200-mile radius around the Quad Cities. They don't come anywhere near it, except for, I guess, Iowa City is the closest one. So hopefully that changes in the future. We'd love to have them here in Rock Island. But with these private companies, if they want to be there, you can rest assured they'll get it done.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what when we first talked about it, we were on the show. I called somebody and they said, "Oh, well, all you got to do is call our customer service number at 1-800-774-2678 and let them know you want a Costco in your area, and that'll help you." So, I tried to get the ball rolling. Said, "Hey, we need one here." Now I just need to tell them that, hey, it was a site that was ready for a Walmart, and supposedly the rumors from the people out in Iowa City was that Walmart came in, or Sam's, and bought out the land that Costco was going to build here, and that was the big rumor. So, it'd be I think fitting if they got the land that was projected to be Walmart and then built here. But yeah, like
yeah. Well, I know that there was a grassroots effort. There was a Facebook page that was up, bring Costco to the Quad Cities, and that exploded. I mean, that went over 1,000 people in a very short amount of time. I know through that effort, the corporate office had received a ton of communication from people in the Quad Cities. So I think the efforts, it's worth keeping up. My only concern, though, is that there'll be a huge amount of effort, and then they will say, well, okay, we'll come to the Quad Cities, but we're going to put it in Bentonville for Davenport. And it's like, well, great for them, but and at least the jobs would be here in our community. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, we will. Mm-hmm.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I know I heard it actually 2 nights ago at a ward meeting hosted by Chuck Austin at the new community room in the police station, and someone in that meeting had said, "I'd love to get a Costco," and our economic development manager had made clear, we can contact them again, but they know how interested we are in working with them. But perhaps the feeling isn't mutual.
Speaking of one employer to another one that doesn't have a whole lot of support around here, we had a Nicole from the Quad Cities Coalition for Worker Justice on, and was talking about Brant Construction, which has something to do with the Rock Island Sewer project that happened, and was wondering what type of perspective or your thoughts or that go along with that.
Yeah, so again, this was, the thing about Brant Construction is that they have a long history here in the Quad Cities. And from what I've heard and been able to discern, even though they've been, for the life of the company, non-union, they weren't always so anti-worker as they are now. They found a niche for themselves as a non-union competitor to, try to, find some market share, with the giants of, Valley and others that are doing so much work and doing it great, but they had to somehow try to compete with that. But I think since the new ownership with son Terry Brant, I think he's made it very clear that he is not a friend of workers. And, in fact, isn't really much of a professional. We had him come into our council chambers it must have been 4 or 5 months ago, to explain why they were 180 days late on the 6th Avenue Sewer Relief Project. And at the very minimum out of that conversation, we wanted the man to apologize to the residents, to the business owners, and to the community organizations, the churches and whatnot on 6th Avenue and surrounding it for the completely unreasonable delay of the project. And he refused to apologize. And even had the audacity to say, if you choose to enforce liquidated damages, which is a provision in contracts, public works construction contracts, that if the contractor is late because of their own negligence by not staffing it or not having the equipment on site, not getting the materials on time, then they get fined a certain dollar amount each day. And at that time, it was over $200,000 that we were seeing in terms of fines. And he had the audacity to say, well, if you choose to enforce those, we'll fight it all the way to court. And so, at that point, it became very clear to me that this man has got no intention of being forthright on the accusations and the claims, the NLRB claims and OSHA violations and other worker complaints that are going on, in addition to the professional side of the job in terms of the contracts and timeliness, was not interested in working with us in terms of being apologetic to the public. So at this point, the project is complete. It was over 200 days overdue, and we are looking at liquidated damages to the tune of $305,000. I know that the majority on the council is committed a retainage on the job. We will be withholding that amount of liquidated damages from the final payment for the project, which I think is coming this month, or at the very beginning of next month will be the final payment for the project. So what happens from there is certainly anyone's guess. There may be efforts for mediation, but I can just say from my own opinion, from my own perspective, I will not be accepting any sort of concession to make a deal here. I want full enforcement of the liquidated damages to prove a point that if you're going to take a public contract of the taxpayers' dollars and you're not going to finish it on time and you're not going to apologize for being late and you're going to treat your workers in a way that doesn't fit the philosophy of the city, then I'm going to go out of my way to make sure that you, pay your fines to the maximum enforcement that we can. So, and I know that next Monday, our council, we're going to have a study session on responsible bidder ordinance, and that's going to help us have a conversation about what we mean by responsible bidders when we're awarding contracts. There's a false assumption out there that cities are bound by law to award to the lowest responsible bidder, and that's actually not true. So we hold a greater deal of discretion in terms of awarding public contracts. So I want to make sure that moving forward, brand or otherwise, companies that don't have the capacity to do the work and then have proven capable of doing the work, companies that are facing NLRB charges or consistent OSHA fines, companies that don't have certified OSHA training programs for their workers, that these are the kind of contractors that we don't let come do work in the city of Rock Island. So I'm hoping that out of this catastrophe, from their end, from Brand's end, that we will have stronger ordinance language to make sure we're getting qualified, responsible bidders public work here in the city.
It's great to be watching out for the taxpayers of Rock Island by doing that, and I have to apologize. Part of your little bit, not a whole lot, but for some reason I was thinking I had my phone plugged in once, and then my phone rang during the podcast, and I unplugged you real quick,
sure.
real quick, and plugged you back in. But I was curious on now that the dollar amount that came up, and you said it was the liquidated assets. What does that include? Say the damages to the businesses that lost 40% of their revenue during that time, or over 40%, or is that number derived from something else?
No, regrettably, that does not include that. So those organizations would be free to sue Brand if they wanted to. Maybe more costly for them to recover the funds and what they lost. But what I'm hoping we can do is have a conversation with those businesses after we get that money secured, and basically take a look at the books and have a conversation with what we can do to kind of try to make them whole. I mean, that's what I've already approached that conversation. That was the previous city manager, so I need to have that conversation with our new city manager and just let him know that I'm an advocate for providing some degree of compensation. I know the city of Davenport has done that for public works projects that have been delayed where there have been issues. We got to do right by our businesses. And so it may not directly have been the city's fault, but we got to take some degree of responsibility for it and make sure that money that would go to those businesses is coming from what we're not paying to Grant. So
Yeah, speaking of local business, and this would be something that I didn't talk to you before about, but I know there's a lot of stuff going on with the Fed, and there's a lot of organized labor coming out with the new Dick's Sporting Goods that's going up, and
Sure.
you have any insight in that? I haven't seen a whole lot except for like a picture on Facebook and then a copy of a flyer that I had seen.
Well, what we're unfortunately seeing with a lot of the new development happening in Davenport is that the work is being done by out-of-state contractors. People coming, bringing workers in from Texas, Georgia, Alabama. They'll live in their vehicles or in trailers or the cheapest hotel rooms they can get. Make as much money as they can and then they leave. It is of no benefit to the local economy. We are not supporting people who have mortgages here, who bought cars from local dealerships, sending their kids to local schools and local colleges, who are working for employers who are based here, paying their taxes here in these counties and in our state. So it's totally disrespectful. It is absolute greed. I mean, the money that these people have to do these projects, if you have enough money to build a brand new store, you have enough money to do it right, and to do it with local labor, skilled labor, and put the local people to work, who will, at the end of the day, be the ones choosing to shop or not shop at that store. So to me, it's probably one of the dumbest business decisions you can make, because you're not going to have any customers from Alabama coming up to Davenport to shop at Dick's. And I hope that the stores and industries that continue to do this kind of practice, I hope they feel that pain in their purse. If the store doesn't succeed because of it, then I say so be it. Because if you build a foundation of something on the wrong footing, it's going to fall over. And so it just, the local leadership over there, I don't know where they're at. The elected officials, I don't know why they're not leading that conversation. They are noticeably absent from the dialogue, and it's just, I tip my hat to the workers. I went out there for one of the second protests. We were out there for about 2 hours, waiting at cars, holding signs, and I noticed a lot of young apprentices and young tradesmen and their families, and so it was inspiring to see people being called to action and really let the community know what's going on. Because oftentimes these things happen, and folks who aren't necessarily in the labor movement or connected to it somehow, they don't know these things, and so it's our job to educate them on why it matters to use local labor. So that's what's going on with that. Mills Chevrolet is the same story. Heartland of America, that industry, it was the Iowa Machine Shed and Johnny and Steakhouse. The management there, same practices, where they choose to build without a skilled labor, no regard to the local labor force. So, these people they need to wake up and realize it's bad business, bad ethics, and it's just, bad treatment of your neighbors, to just disregard the capacity that we have here in our labor force.
Absolutely, and don't know if you got anything else going on today, but want to make sure that we don't tie you up too much. Is there anything that you'd want to talk about, speak on that are local politics, either tied to this local area or Iowa and Illinois?
Well, I guess just two last things I would say. One, I know we've got a very important referendum in Rock Island County for the public safety tax. Excuse me, and for the school 1% sales tax. So I am very much in favor of both of those. In terms of the school tax, that money is for buildings, infrastructure only, for upgrades. Scott County has enjoyed that for many years, having that 1% sales tax. And as you would notice if you drive by the schools, you hear about the upgrades that are being done, the new facilities. It makes it all the more competitive. Henry County, I believe, has it already. Mercer County, most of the surrounding counties have the 1% sales tax for the schools. We have to get it done in Rock Island County, and I hope this is the election to do it. The 0.5% sales tax is desperately needed for the county. We know that this is going to be a great way for public safety services to be paid for just by residents through property tax, but the sales tax affects people who travel through the county. And so I think it's great for them to dip in for our police services, specifically our county sheriff's services. And the one reason I get excited to support this is that I know our sheriff, Jerry Bustos, is a stand-up professional who's made it very clear his promise on his professional integrity that this, if passed, will lead to a reduction in the property tax levy. So that homeowners will have a lesser burden on their property tax bill. And I think that's a smarter way to start thinking about funding government is through sales tax initiatives, because, again, it diversifies that burden of the payment, which is something we have to do if we want public services, especially sheriff's department. And for people to travel through, tourists, etc., they chip in a little bit, which I think is great. It's happened when you go to other communities. I think it should happen here in Rock Island County. We desperately need the revenue. And so those are two very important issues. A lot of great candidates on the ballot, both in Illinois and Iowa. I know we're looking at sending both of our representatives to Congress back, Sherry Bustos and Dave Lodstack in Iowa. State rep seats. I've been helping Mike Halpin, running for state rep for Tavish Shores retired seat. I've been a volunteer with this campaign since primary. Excellent candidate. Obviously, we want to make sure the top of our ticket, Hillary Clinton, goes through, and we continue on with the progress we've seen over the past 8 years. And all of this is, in terms of for union members, if they want to get involved on Election Day, the Quad City Federation of Labor is paying stipends for volunteers, work a full day, 9 to 6 p.m. on Election Day, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. We've got breakfast, lunch, and dinner we'll be providing. And volunteers will basically have a territory, a couple precincts, and they'll work those precincts to make sure that everyone on our list has gotten out to vote. And so that's very, very important work. Believe it or not, so many people just, Election Day comes and they forget about it. But that helpful knock at the door last minute race them down to their polling center and make sure they cast their vote. So we are still recruiting volunteers for that. And like I said, it'd be a $100 stipend for the expenses and effort for the day. So if people want to do that, they can call Quad City Fed office at 309-788-1303. Again, that's 309-788-1303.
All right. Well, thanks for volunteering for coming on, and I'll make sure Mike gives you some money for volunteering and coming on the show.
Well, technically it'd be Roy, since Roy took the whole conversation up. So thanks, Josh. We appreciate it.
No, not a problem. I hope this works out for you guys, and I'll look forward to hearing it when it's available.
All right, yeah. Thanks for bringing up that 1% school tax. I hadn't heard of that one yet. Heard about the other one, and when you see Dino, tell him I'm gonna be looking for him to see if he'll do an interview next week.
Okay. That sounds good. I'll let him know to keep an eye out for your call then.
All right. Thanks, Josh.
Thanks, Josh.
Okay. All right. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Bye.
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 That's it. We're
No.
closing the show,
No,
Mike.
we're not closing the show.
Why are we not closing the show?
We still got douche of the week.
Well, yeah, I meant we have to do that and close the show. I wasn't trying to get away.
That's not it. You're not going to get that away. So, we're not going to let Sean vote this week. He's out of it. It's you and me.
Sean doesn't have a mic.
It don't matter. He doesn't get to vote this week.
Took that away from Mike. Let's see. Looking through the notes here, we got it's a big league show, Mike. We got a lot. We got a lot going on. Let's see. Looking for douches of the week. Brain Dead. Joni Ernst makes an appearance.
Do we remember who our douche was last week? Does any of us remember?
What was the last? It was Brandt Construction.
Was it?
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're out this week. I know Josh talked a lot about them. So they're out.
Yeah, they're out. Me and Sean did Walmart already due to the project, and I guess we probably should reaccount that one that Walmart technically didn't pull out. They were never signed.
We got Dick's as well.
Yep. I think Dick's is about it for now.
Well, just remember Sean doesn't get a vote, but I'll go with Dick's.
Yep, I think Dick's, the new store up by Walmart, is douche of the week.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thanks for listening to number 10.
This has been Steel Revolution. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steel Revolution Podcast. Questions or comments, email us steelrevolution105@gmail.com. Steel Revolution is a production of Steelworkers 105, Bettendorf, Iowa. Steel Revolution. Steel Revolution.